Today we're going to be working on the mono foundation assembly. In order to open the assembly, we go to the drop down, choose yes, go to the mono concrete worksheet. Mono footings. Mono footings are basically the same as they were for the stem wall footings with a couple of twists. We have bells and mono footings, and footings and slabs are poured at the same time. So basically we're doing this exactly the same as we did the other one. We're going to identify the footing based on what the criteria of the plan is. So in this case we have detail 1 on S3. Footing width is 30 inches. The depth is 12 inches. The thing that you have to realize about mono footings versus stem wall footings is the depth of the footing sometimes incorporates the depth of the slab also. So you could have a 12-inch footing with a 4-inch slab, which would essentially be a 16-inch footing called out on the plan. You have to make sure that you are just taking off the footing part, not the slab part of this footing. We have a bell. A bell is the 45-degree angle or the sloped angle between the footing and the slab to prevent cracking. In this case, the bell is the same height as the depth of the footing, so it will be 12 inches. Perimeter footings typically have one bell. Interior footings typically have two bells. So being that this is a perimeter footing, we have one bell. We're going to say that we have 120 lineal feet of footing. In that footing we have number 5 rebar, 3 of them. We have a trans rebar, which is a number 4. It's spaced at 24 inches on center. The length of the trans rebar is the length of the footing. If you want that trans rebar to be less than the width of the footing, you can change it at this point. In this case, we're going to put in 24 inches. We have no stirrups on this footing, but if we did, we would do the same thing as we're doing with everything else. We would choose the rebar. We would choose the clearance between the outside edge of the footing and the rebar, and the spacing of the stirrups. We have 6 outside corners, 90-degree corners. We're using 3,000-pound concrete. We're going to be using a boom pump because this footing is going to be poured at the same time that the slab is being poured. There are number 6 dowels. The dowel ratio is 1 foot to 5 foot. The dowels are spaced at 24 inches on center on this job. And we are using wood for the perimeter for forms. And that would be the end of the footing takeoff. Going to the mono concrete purchase order, we see we have the forms that we're going to be needing for the perimeter. We have loop ties. Here's our dowels, 72 of them. We have rebar caps, which will be the same amount of the dowels. We have number 4 trans rebar, 7 20-footers, and 20 number 5 20-foot rebar, and 15 yards of 3,000-pound regular concrete. Mono worksheet. Now we have spread footings. Spread footings essentially are the same as they are in the stem wall spread footing takeoff. So we are going to skip this part of the takeoff. If you want to review it, you can go back to the stem wall footing and do a refresher on there. Flat work is essentially slabs, slab on grade, elevated slabs, sidewalks, concrete paving, etc. We are taking off a slab on grade for the building. This area is for elevated slabs, second floor slabs that are not supported by anything. This basically is to give you the shoring and reshoring needed for those particular slabs. Slab on grade criteria. On this job we have a 4-inch slab. The slab is going to be 30 by 30, which gives me 900 square feet. We are using 6 mil vapor barrier. we are going to be using a number 3 rebar, spaced 12 inches on center, with 1 mat. We are not going to be using any wire in this footing, and we are going to be using no fiber. If you wanted to incorporate all 3 of these items in this slab, you could. There are times when you are incorporating one or more of these, but very seldom. We are using 3,000 pound concrete again. We are using a boom pump. The saw cuts for the control joints are 20 feet on center. If you're using a laser screed, you can choose yes here, and it will give you a laser screed as a rental. If you're using termite treatment, you would choose it here, and if you're going to be sealing the slab, you would choose yes there. There are no other forms on this. We are already using them in the footing, so there are no forms. The depth of the sub base in this slab is 6 inches, and it's going to be used 57 stone. So that concludes the mono footing and the mono slab takeoff. Going to the purchase order, you see this is all of the items needed for both. Now we're going to go back to the worksheet, and we're going to take off stairs. Stairs, the way I take off stairs is I use the width of the stair by how many risers they are. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a 3 riser by 60-inch stair. So as we said, the width is 60 inches. The throat on this stair is going to be 5 inches. The riser height is going to be 7.5 inches. The tread length is going to be 12 inches. The number of risers, as we stated in the description, is going to be 3. And we have 1 set of these stairs. If you had 2, 3, or 4 of these sets of stairs, you could put that number in here and it would calculate for all of the sets that are identical. In this case, we have 1. The long rebar going from the bottom of the stair to the top of the stair is going to be a number 4, being spaced at 8 inches on center. The short way, or the width of the stair, there's going to be a number 4 rebar, spaced 12 inches on center. The nosing for the stair steps is going to be a number 3. We're using 3,000 pound concrete, and this is a stair that's sitting on the ground. It is not freestanding, so we choose no. Going back to the purchase order, we see that now we have the 57 stone. We have the number 3 rebar in there for the slab. We also have the number 4 that was changed for the stairs. So all 3, the footing, the slab on grade, and the concrete steps, are in this purchase order. And that concludes the mono footing tutorial.